The crystalline halls of the Tsar Imperial Palace shimmered with bioluminescent grandeur as representatives from 1,000 worlds gathered for what was supposed to be a significant diplomatic union in galactic history. Empress Kendall of the Zarketh dynasty stood at the center of the grand chamber, her iridescent scales catching the light of 3 suns streaming through the transparent dome above. Her forearms were crossed in a gesture that every species present understood as contempt. Before her stood Roman, a human diplomat from Earth, dressed in what his people considered formal attire, a simple black suit that looked almost primitive compared to the flowing energy-woven garments of the other delegates. He was unremarkable by galactic standards, knew Naturau Armar, no additional limbs, no psychic abilities, just a human male with dark hair, steady brown eyes, and an infuriating calmness that made Kendall's blood boil. This is the specimen that the Terran Coalition sends. Kendall's voice resonated through the chamber, her translator broadcasting her words in 100 languages simultaneously. A soft-skinned biped with no claws, no venom, no natural defenses whatsoever. Her laugh was musical and cruel. And they expect me, Empress of the Zarketh, to bind my dynasty to this fragile creature. The assembled delegates shifted uncomfortably. The marriage had been arranged to cement an alliance between the expanding human territories and the ancient Zarketh Empire. But no one had expected the Empress to be quite so openly hostile. Several ambassadors from warrior species chuckled, finding humor in the apparent mismatch. Roman, however, simply smiled. Your Majesty is correct that humans lack many physical advantages common to galactic species. We have no natural weapons, our lifespans are short, and our homeworld is frankly a death trap by most civilized standards. Kendall leaned forward, her golden eyes narrowing. Then why should I not simply dissolve this ridiculous arrangement and conquer your pathetic worlds instead? What could you possibly offer that would make this union anything but a burden to my empire? Because, Roman said quietly, humanity doesn't survive through what we are. We survive through what we do. Before Kendall could respond with another cutting remark, the palace's security systems screamed to life. Red warning lights flooded the chamber as a holographic display materialized in the center of the room. Commander Vexler, the Empress's military chief, appeared in the projection, his mandibles clicking in barely contained panic. Your Majesty, the Vergath swarm has entered the system. They've disabled our outer defense grid and are approaching the palace. We estimate 15 minutes before they breach the shields. We must evacuate immediately. The chamber erupted into chaos. The Vergath were legendary, a hive-minded species of insectoid predators that had consumed entire civilizations. They took no prisoners, made no treaties, and left nothing but empty worlds in their wake. Delegates scrambled for the exits as Kendall's guards formed protective formations around her. How many ships? Kendall demanded, her earlier arrogance replaced by cold military efficiency. 300 bioships, Your Majesty. Our fleet is scattered across the sector. We have perhaps 40 vessels in range, but they cannot arrive in time. Roman moved to a nearby console, his fingers flying across the interface with practiced speed. Commander, this is Roman Castellan of the Terran Diplomatic Mission. I'm uploading human military protocols to your defense network. You're going to need to trust me. Kendall whirled on him. What could you possibly, Your Majesty? With respect, shut up and let me work. Roman's voice carried an authority that made even the Empress pause. Humans have been fighting things that want to kill us since we lived in caves. The Vergath are just another predator, and we're very, very good at dealing with predators. Within minutes, Roman had reorganized the entire palace defense. He redirected power from non-essential systems to weapons arrays, created overlapping fields of fire that maximized their limited resources, and implemented tactics that seemed insane to the Zarketh military doctrine, weakening sections of the shield to create kill zones where the Vergath would inevitably concentrate their forces. This is madness. Commander Vexler protested. You're inviting them through our defenses. I'm creating a funnel, Roman corrected, his eyes never leaving the tactical display. Humans learned a long time ago that sometimes the best defense is to make your enemy think they're winning. Empress, I need you to order all civilians to the lower levels now. Something in his tone made Kendall obey without question. As the first wave of Vergath bioships penetrated the weakened shields, they poured through exactly where Roman had predicted. What they found was a concentrated barrage of fire that turned their formation into a biological graveyard. But more kept coming. They're adapting to the defensive pattern, Vexler reported. They're learning, of course they are, Roman interrupted. Empress, do you have any munitions that can create an electromagnetic pulse? Yes, but using them this close to the palace would disable our own systems. Do it. On my mark, Roman's hands moved across multiple consoles simultaneously, adjusting power distributions with a speed that shouldn't have been possible for someone unfamiliar with Zarketh technology. Humanity's greatest advantage isn't that we're strong or fast or smart. It's that we're crazy enough to break our own tools if it means taking the enemy down with us. When the Vergath committed their main force to the breakthrough, Roman gave the order. The EMP blast disabled everything: shields, weapons, life support, but it also fried the neural connections of every Vergath bioship in range. In the darkness that followed, emergency systems flickered to life. revealing a field of dead alien vessels floating in space. The remaining seeing their main force destroyed in a tactic no sane species would attempt, withdrew from the system. In the restored throne room, Kendall stared at Roman with new eyes. His suit was disheveled, his face exhausted, but he stood straight as he met her gaze. "You destroyed your own defenses," she said quietly. "You could have killed us all." "But I didn't," Roman replied. "Because humans don't just survive, Your Majesty. We calculate, we adapt, and we do whatever it takes to protect what matters. That's what I can offer your empire. Not strength or weapons or natural advantages, but the absolute refusal to accept defeat, and the creativity to turn any situation into a victory." Kendall extended one of her hands toward him, a gesture of respect in her culture. "Perhaps," she said, a genuine smile crossing her features for the first time, "this union will not be such a burden after all." As word of the humans' defense spread across the galaxy, a new phrase entered the common tongue of 1,000 species: humanity. Fuck yeah. And in the crystalline palace of the Czar, an empress who had mocked a human learned that sometimes the most dangerous creatures are the ones with nothing but their wits and an unwillingness to die quietly.